Right, welcome back everybody. Today we're going to be dropping the gearbox out of this Vauxhall Astra 1.8. It has a gearbox issue on it, but while we've got the box out, we're going to be changing the clutch as well, and we've got a rebuilt gearbox ready to go in this. If you check my playlist, you'll see us where we took it apart and rebuilt it. So what we're going to do now is get this stripped out the engine. I've got the old man here. Let's get started. What do you want to be? We've got Retro Restore here.
Retro Restore.
If you haven't checked out his video, there'll be a link up there somewhere.
Is it? Or if they haven't got it on the phone, if they're watching it on the telly, it'll be in the description below the video on their PC.
There you go. So let's get started. That's enough waffle.
Right, so first thing we've done, we've undone the, well, there was 2 bolts, there's actually 3 bolts there, but it looks like the battery tray has actually been broken off. So 1, 2, 3 bolts to lift the battery tray out of the way. That means that we can see the engine mount now, which is obviously going to have to come out when we support the engine underneath. Some of the things we can disconnect while we're up here is, one is the, looks like the reversing sensor switch. So we just unclip that. There we go. And all you do there is literally pull that little flap forward and it should pull off. So that's that off. And I just noticed that this bracket's off here, look down here.
Oh yeah.
And that looks like that bracket used to bolt onto the side of one of the gearbox bolts there with that big hole there, look.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can see that there, can you? But I think that looked like it went on there, so maybe it's had a new clutch in sometime in the past or whatever. So anyway, that's off there. We've got to look at disconnecting the gear linkage down there somewhere. We'll get onto that in a moment, but we've got 2 bolts there we can see for the bell housing. I think there's a few more lower down. There's another engine bracket at the front here, which we've got to take off, a gearbox mounting bracket rather. So that's the front gearbox mounting bracket. That's the end gearbox mounting bracket, which we're going to have to do. But first of all, we'll undo the drive shafts and get the drive shafts taken out. And to do that, we'll take the split pin out, undo the wheel, undo the lower ball joint there. There's a bolt there that holds it on down there somewhere. And we'll separate that, and then we should be able to pull it out of the way, push the drive shaft through, and then we can pull the drive shaft out. But before we obviously do that, we need to take the the gearbox oil out as well. So we're going to do that now. We'll put you on a bit of time lapse for that. See you in a minute.
Right, so we'll just cut back in here now. As you can see, we've got both gear shafts off of the vehicle now. We've had no oil drip out yet. I thought we might have had a bit, but I know the vehicle was jacked up, but I thought we might have at least seen a drop come out, but nothing's come out as yet. And what we're just doing now is we're just disconnecting the linkages just down here. And I have got a new linkage pin to go in because it's recommended to put a new one in because these do wear and fail. So it was only £3 that, so for the price of it, I thought we'd get it done. And we're just looking in the manual now, and this is the gear linkage pin I just showed you what we're talking about.
That one there. Right, so these is a pain in the arse to get out. This is one of those little pins, the pivot pin I think it's called, where it's got a little spring-loaded clip on the bottom of it there, and that sits into the gear change linkage, and you have to push that in. And the way I found the easiest way, because you can't push it in and push it up like that, I found the other end to get a screwdriver under the lip there. So push that in and just starts it off by getting a screwdriver under there, and then you can push it through a bit. And then I've got the pointed nose pliers on there like that, and I was able to pull it out. And just to show you where that is, so it actually comes out of that hole there. There's two of them there actually. There's one either side, and that goes onto the bracket there for the gear selector rod coming out of the gearbox. I'm going to go back on that now.
It's on the bar, breaker bar. Too big.
Oh, got it. Right, okay, that's the front engine mount out. Right, we also want to disconnect the front of the bumper with these little clips there, just to separate that, because we're going to have to try and drop the lower. I'm hoping not to take the subframe right out, just hopefully lower the front end of it to make the gap bigger up here where we can get the gearbox out. Right, okay, so that's separated from the subframe. We've got to hold the radiator up somehow, get that mountings off of there, so we'll have to work on that now. Right, we're just undoing the radiator brackets now before we have to mount it up somewhere. This is just disconnecting the brackets from the subframe. Can you turn it?
Yeah, got that.
Right, there's one. Got it?
Yeah.
Again, I'm getting these from the top with long extensions, as you can see. You could do it below, but right, do the same to the other side, and then we'll tie the radiator up.
Right, so we've undone the subframe now. We've got it hanging. There's 6 bolts at the back there. You can see there's 3 there on that triangle plate and 3 there on the opposite side. There's another triangle plate. And you've got your one here, same on the other side. We've dropped that. And you've got your 2 front ones. And it's the exact same on the other side. So they're fully out, and it's given us a nice bit of clearance there. Now we're hoping that we're going to be able to just get the gearbox out of the other side without dropping the subframe totally. So we've never done this before, so it's trial and error. So we did go inside the vehicle and undo the steering column. You can just see that just there, that silver rod that goes up through the car and it connects to your steering wheel, and it's just held in there with a 13mm bolt. So we disconnected that and it's just dropped down, so give us a little bit more play. So as we've disconnected some of the engine mountings, we've actually put the jack under there with a block of wood just to support the engine so it doesn't drop. We did have to disconnect the exhaust pipe from the cat there because it was resting on the subframe, so we just took that off so there weren't no pressure on it. Right then, so you can see we've undone all the bolts. Now the bell housing has started to come away from the engine. We've got two support jacks under there. This was the last engine mount bracket that we've just undone. We're just going to be getting ready now to drop this gearbox out of the vehicle, and then we can have a look to see what's going on inside it. Right, we're at the stage now where we're trying to get the gearbox out from the engine bay. We've just supported the subframe with this little scissor jack we've got here. So we're just going to try and manoeuvre it out now, see if we can get out of this gap. You may notice we've stuck the drive shaft back in. That's just to stop any oil spillage coming out.
Well, we don't know whether it's going to come out, do we?
Nope.
We don't know whether it's going to come out or not. We're going to give it a go. With the subframe still in but loosened off. Can you just take that down a little bit?
That's it, it's coming.
Oh, there we go. Can we get the gearbox out with the subframe still in? Yes. Yes, we can. How about that?
And there it is.
Just to prove it. There's the subframe in, but albeit loosened. And all the bolts are out of the subframe. We disconnected the steering box, obviously, and we dropped it down enough not to take it out. If we had to take it out, we'd have to take the exhaust pipe off, you see, but it's out, and now we can have a cup of tea. Right, so I've just taken the clutch out and having a little look at it. Doesn't appear to be any wear on the shaft at all. I'm just wondering whether or not... See, look, that little bit of metal there, look. See that?
Yeah.
I don't know where that's coming from. Let's look on the pressure plate. Pressure plate looks to be okay.
A lot of life in there.
I'm thinking, I don't know whether or not... I'm right in thinking, so I don't know whether that centre might have span. I just wonder where that bit of metal's come from.
Well,
that's what I'm saying, off of the ends of the springs. I'm looking at them thinking, is that thing spinning, causing that noise, which would mean a clutch failure rather than the gearbox failure. It looks like that centre spigot there is only held in place by these sort of bits here, by the looks of it. And I don't know whether or not that's been spinning and just going against the springs. I think that might be the bloody noise.
Don't hold that clutch either.
It's a Borg and Beck clutch, so it's a good clutch. What I'd be tempted to do is be fix this in the vice somehow and see if we can spin this on that shaft. But there's definitely been getting hot there. Look, you can see where it's been bending over. So that's something we're going to have to investigate before we go any further. Right, so I've just wedged that breaker bar just in the centre part there because I want to make sure that this doesn't spin. I think this is possibly the problem. So by doing that, as you can see, I can move the clutch, and if I turn the clutch now, this centre part shouldn't spin separate to this, you see, but I do believe that that is wear marks, and I've never seen this before, but watch this, look. Can you see that? So when you put drive onto this shaft, it's not transferring to then, and that was the noise he was getting, look. Look at that, look. It's now locked up again, but you get the idea that it's rubbing on them springs, and that's been spinning, free spinning, with the torque of the engine. I know I'm trying to do it with my hands here, but you can see where I'm coming from. Go back the other way. I can't now, it's locked up. But that was spinning. Yeah. You saw that on the camera, didn't you? Yeah. So that is our problem, and we was getting that clacking noise. So the gearbox is actually fine. The clutch, which is broken down, and it is actually a pretty good clutch actually. It's a Borg and Beck one. Look, if you look at that, look. So it's actually a good clutch. And that was the first telltale sign. The wear marks in there, that little bit of metal that dropped out when I took the clutch out. And that is our issue. That has come separate and is turning and not delivering the torque to the engine and creating that terrible noise we heard, which was like like, thought the drive shafts were sort of spinning on their splines, but that was the noise. So we found the problem.
Right, and so as you can see, we've put the new clutch and the pressure plate in. We've got the 6 bolts and we've done them up to 15 Newton meters as per in the Haynes manual. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and fetch the rebuilt gearbox that we've serviced and hopefully get it back in without any hassle. Right then, so we're at the stage now where we've got the box just bolted back to the side of the engine. We've still got to go around and torque all the bolts up. We've remounted the subframe. What we're going to do now is we're just going to stick some gear oil in it. This is 75/90, fully synthetic. Off the top of my head, I think it takes 1.6 litres, but I will double check that in the manual. The way you fill it up is you just take out your reverse switch.
Yeah, and you fill it up from there, and there's a level indicator on the side of the gearbox, so you have to take the bolt out, and when it dribbles out, you know you've got enough oil in there.
Right, so we've got the drive shaft back in now. It's all bolted up. We've put the battery tray back in, everything's zipped up. We've done all the torques up to the torque settings. We've bled the clutch. So all we've got to do now is just get the wheels back on, and then it's just a matter of giving it a test drive. What do you reckon?
Yeah, get it going, eh? It's been a long day.
Long day, on day rate.
Right, all back together, folks. And he's got to put the roof down, hasn't he?
Oh, so I can hear you.
Right, come on, watch the gears. The clutch is very light, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really light.
It's really light, that pedal. I've never known a clutch so light, but that's what we were a little bit worried at first when we was bleeding it, but it goes into gear. Seems to be all right. Brand new clutch in it. Gearbox is a different one, but as you saw, we found an actual problem with the clutch friction plate. Let's see him go. There we go, all done in a day. Well, I've never seen a clutch plate go like that before. It was a common thing, so I was told by someone else who left a comment on one of my videos, that it's not unusual for the F17 gearbox to spin the pinion, the output shafts, and the drive shaft splines can sometimes spin. I've never known it myself, but that's what he reckons anyway. But that's what our intention was on buying a separate gearbox. That's why we actually got a different gearbox. But as you see, after the strip down, it appears that we found the problem. And a Borg & Warner clutch, I was in the opinion, very good clutches. But as I say, it seems to be a bit of a poor design. I think he's coming back now, hold on. That's going all right, nothing wrong with that, is there? Nothing wrong with that at all. See if he goes in reverse. Make sure I can get all the gears. Yes, straight into reverse there, look. Not a problem at all. Really light clutch though. There we go. Come on, let's get inside. What's it like?
I'll let you have a go, feel the clutch.
Right. Is it light still?
Yeah, it's still light.
I've never known a clutch that light.
Have a go.
It feels like there's no clutch pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get in here. You do have your seat laying back a lot, don't you?
Well, I like to relax.
You know like Jimmy? Jimmy does that. I've got to sup a bit more.
Because you're midget.
Because of a what?
Midget.
That clutch is, I've never known a clutch that light.
Well, there's nothing there, isn't it?
It's really like there's nothing there. It goes into gear perfectly. Where's it bite?
Right down.
Right at the bottom, perfect. That's that, bled up all right. That's that's the lightest clutch I think I've ever used.
Goes alright, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Seems alright.
Well, in reality, what time do we start this job?
About 11:30.
11:30. The time now is, what? I think it's about 7:30, isn't it?
About that,
But
yeah.
don't forget, we've stopped for dinner. We've also, God, I can't get over how light that is. We stopped for dinner, and we also was filming as well, which does make the job go longer. But it's nice to see that we didn't know that you could get the gearbox out just by loosening the subframe and dropping it down. We did disconnect the steering column. We had to do that by the, is it a 13mm on the inside the footwell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we had to do that, but it dropped down lovely. We had a bit of a problem with one of the castellated nuts on the centre subframe mount. We had to clean it up, and God, that's so light, that clutch.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah. I've never known a clutch so light. Pokey little thing as well, isn't it? Well, she's back on the road. So
Stacey ain't even drove it yet.
Stacey hasn't even drove it yet. And it's a good day's work, but as I say, to do you can do a clutch a lot quicker than what we've done it, but the main thing was we had to take the gearbox out. Look at that, fantastic. Happy days. Another one back on the road. That's fantastic, that clutch. So, I mean, obviously, since we've had the subframe out, we will take it to a garage and have it professionally tracked as well, because that's obviously where all the steering geometry can go wrong. So if anyone's going to have a go at this, you will need to get it tracked, otherwise you'll have uneven tyre wear, and they'll wear out in no time. And there you go. Yeah.
No, you can outro it today.
Hey? So thank you very much for watching. I know you haven't seen a detailed how-to on this, but as I say, there's plenty of videos, well, there's a couple of videos out there now on doing this. We've done it using a method which I haven't seen anyone use on YouTube, and that is taking the gearbox out and still leaving the subframe in. The benefit of that is we didn't have to take the exhaust off, we didn't have to disconnect the pipes for the steering rack and all that sort of stuff. We left that in situ, and as I said to you, we just took a chance and it paid off. There you go. Thanks very much for watching Project Man channel. See you about.